I request to our today's speaker, Professor Sachidananda Mishra, to deliver his lecture on the nature of Sunyata.
Namaskar, namaste to everybody. So, I am here to present my views. Professor Abhimanyu Singh is chairing this session. This is an opportunity for me to share my views with Professor Abhimanyu Singh and with all of you. The first point I would like to share with you why I did choose this topic, the nature of Shunyata. Actually, the nature of Shunyata is such type of concept which is very confusing. Very confusing in this sense that the scholars are also many times understanding it differently in a wrong way. And this is not the case that this is a defect by itself, but this is the nature of Shunyata which makes this kind of confusion possible. Even when Nagarjuna propounded the theory of Shunyata, he was very much conscious of this type of problem. He was very much aware of this type of issues. He was very much aware that there could be misunderstanding of Shunyata. And what I see in academic circle and in scholarly debates, the same type of difficulty arises. Many times it is said, and it begins with Acharya Shankara and by many other philosophers who are very regarded, and many times in 20th century it is objected that their understanding of Shunyata is not a right understanding. Many modern philosophers have accused Acharya Shankara that his understanding of Shunyata is not a proper understanding of it. So there are so many issues, and there is Professor Harsha Narayan who proposes that actually the traditional understanding of Shunyata is a proper one, and the later understanding how the other philosophers are understanding the Shunyata is a completely different understanding, and it is not a right understanding. I have the opportunity to consult the original text. Therefore, I wanted to share with you my views on this issue. That what could be the nature of Shunyata. Simply saying, as Professor A.K. Chatterjee observes, that in Buddhist philosophical tradition there are three types of Shunyatas. There are four schools of Buddhism, and there is a separate type of Shunyata accepted by every branch of these philosophies. The oldest branch, which is known as Sarvastivada or Hinayana. However, Hinayan appears to be a derogatory term, therefore it should be avoided. But Sarvastivadi school propounds a separate type of Shunyata, and this Shunyata is conceived as Pudgala Shunyata. And this Pudgala Shunyata is such type of view that there is a no Atman, there is a no Pudgalas. Like there is no pot. If you take the example of pot, here also there is no pot at all. But this all, everything is whatever is experienced, this is actually, there are skandhas, and their identity is actually an imaginative identity. It is only our imagination that we are imposing this identity to them. So this is actually known as Pudgala Shunyata. And here, this kind of Pudgala Shunyata is accepted by Sarvastivadi school. Then there comes the theory of Shunyata propounded by Nagarjuna, by Shunyavadins. Here again also, when we see Shunyavada, the term itself makes many things confusing. Because when you say Shunyavad, it appears to be a theory. Whether Shunyavad is a theory or not, this is also a debatable point. So Shunyavad is taken to be a theory propounded by Acharya Nagarjuna. And in this theory, this a little bit separate type of Shunyata is accepted. That is known as Neswabhavata. Neswabhavata, Pratitya Samut. This is identified with Pratitya Samutpad, because many places Acharya Shankar, Acharya Nagarjuna clearly says that Yoyam Pratitya Samutpadaha, Yah Pratitya Samutpadaha, Shunyatam Tam Prachakshmahe. So there is no distinction between Pratitya Samutpada and Shunyata. And what is Pratitya Samutpad? This is actually dependent origination of things. So this Shunyata is taken to be a dependent origination of things, and in this sense, in Nagarjuna's philosophy, Shunyata is conceived. And there comes, and here Professor Chatterjee makes a very important observation that these two Shunyatas, as propounded by Nagarjuna and by later philosophers, which are known as idealist philosophers, this Nagarjuna philosophy is actually Digambar type of Shunyata, if we borrow the term from Jaina Sampradaya, Jaina tradition. So this is a Digambar Shunyata. This is naked, stark naked Shunyata. Here, everything is conceived as Shunya. But when we take the point from the Vijnanavada point, Vijnanavada tradition, here this type of Shunyata is not accepted. Here the Shunyata which is accepted in Vijnanavada tradition, that Shunyata is something different from this Nagarjuna's Shunyata. According to Nagarjuna, Shunyata is something neswabhava, dependent origination. And in this Vijnanavada tradition, it is conceived that whatever is taken to be, this is actually the product of this Vijnana. So nothing is permanent there. So nothing is permanent there, and nothing is there which can be conceived as a type of Shunyata, as Nagarjuna's position goes to this. So in these different type of Shunyatas, which one I am going to talk to you now in my lecture? I am concentrating on the Madhyamika type of Shunyata, because I find this one is the type of Shunyata which is propounded by Nagarjuna, and which is accepted and related to the Shunyata theory. All other Shunyatas are not so much related to Shunyata theory. However, all those philosophies, there are two terms which we can say, that one is Madhyama Pratipad and another one is Shunyata. And all philosophies of Buddhist school are conceived as Madhyama Pratipad. All are saying, all are trying to convince others that their philosophy is actually, this is Madhyama Pratipad, the middle path. Middle path means not going, not taking any side. And actually, this Shunyata is started from this point of view, that it is to say that not going with any extremes. So one extreme is Uchchedavada, and another extreme is actually Shashvatavada. So not going with those two streams is actually Madhyama Pratipad, and this is also conceived as a Shunyata. And therefore we find different places in Buddhist philosophy, in Buddhist tradition, that this is actually the intention of this is actually the type of Shunyata which should be accepted. So when we take this point from Buddhist perspective, from the perspective of Nagarjuna, so Shunyata is conceived which is negation of everything. The problem lies with the Shunyata, that it is actually negation of everything. And this is the point Chatterjee also highlighted when he says that it is stark naked. Stark naked in the sense that nothing is accepted to be existing. So if nothing is taken to be existing, how to accept this philosophy, and what will be the position? What will be the position, and how all other things are inconsistent with are inconsistency with this theory? So that this is the problem here faced by others. So I think this will be a proper way to understand this theory, that what is that which is not negated by Nagarjuna. And if we could understand that point, that there are certain things which are not negated by Nagarjuna, then I think we can have a proper understanding of Madhyamika Shunyata. Because there are everywhere there is negation. If you take Madhyamaka Shastra, Madhyamaka Karika, there are 27 parikshas, 27 examinations, and in every examination it begins with this question, then these four kotis, asti, nasti, both, and negation of both of them. So in that way, every chapter begins, and in every chapter we find a negation. So if there is negation everywhere, so could we say that there is something which is not negated by Nagarjuna? And if something is there which is not negated, then only we can say that this position of Nagarjuna could be accepted and could be the foundation of his all theories. And here we find that there are certain things, some points are there which are not negated by Nagarjuna. And what are those things? That according to Nagarjuna, karma phala sambandh is not negated. We have to accept that karma sambandha, this is to say, in 17th chapter, Karma Phala Pariksha chapter, Nagarjuna very clearly says, Shunyata cha nachochhedaha sansarascha na shashtvataha karmano vipranashascha dharmo buddhena deshitaha. So these are points which are not negated by Nagarjuna, because these are accepted. First one is Shunyata. Second one is nachochhedaha. Sansarascha na shashtvataha. And then sansar, the world is not taken to be eternal. And fourth one is karmano vipranashascha. So karma is never gets reduced. Karma is there always to give its fruits. So karmanaha vipranashascha. So this is not the case that there are no karmas. And if there are karmas, Shunyata is there, and there is no uchcheda. Uchcheda drishti means this is the position adopted by Laukayatika Charvakas, and the world is not this is not eternal. So all these things These 4 points are there which are accepted by Nagarjuna, because he says that dharmo buddhena deshitaha. So these are the main basic points which are taught by Buddha, and these are accepted by Nagarjuna. So here I think it will be a proper beginning to understand the Buddhist position, the Nagarjuna's position of Shunyata, when we take these points together. Because here Shunyata is also propounded, then the world is not eternal, it is also propounded. The world is not vanished, this is not nihilism. So here again the point is stated that this is not a kind of nihilist philosophy, because there is no uchcheda. Then there is fourth point which is taken, that karmanaha abhipranashaha. So our actions never get destroyed. So this is to say, if you are saying, if you are objecting that if Shunyavat is accepted, if Shunyata theory is accepted, then how there could be karma? Who is going to enjoy the freedom? Who will be taking nirvana? So all these questions are settled down here, because these 4 points are accepted by Nagarjuna. So again there could be a problem in this regard, that if Shunyata is accepted, where you are negating, because in all these texts, this Nagarjuna's text in Mula Madhyamaka Karika, beginning from Pratyaya Pariksha, first Pratyaya Pariksha, this is the evaluation of causal theory. Because in old Buddhism, causal theory was conceived as the term is used pratyaya, and all the pratyayas, hetu pratyaya and alambana pratyaya, samanantara pratyaya and adhipati pratyaya, these 4 kinds of pratyayas are accepted, and according to those pratyayas everything gets produced. This was the Buddhist theory. So if this is the point, pratyaya pariksha begins with pratyaya pariksha, and then gatagata pariksha, the moment the action is evaluated, then indriyas, skandhas, dhatu, raga, etc. So going on through those topics, if you take, this is a very big book, and going through all the topics, we come to this point that only one thing is highlighted everywhere, that is the negation. And many times it appears as if Nagarjuna is arguing for the sake of argumentation, only to reject all the views. So in that way he begins his theory. So in that case, when he is negating all the theories, all the views, so this negation of all the views is actually the proper position adopted by Nagarjuna. So all the theories are negated, and then it culminates in the point which is known as drishti pariksha. So and in the later it is said that shunyata sarvadrishtinam prokta nisharanam janai. So sarvadrishtinam shunyata. So we should not have any kind of drishti, any kind of vision, any kind of theory, and actually any kind of theory, any kind of metaphysical theory, any kind of epistemological theory is not accepted. And when Nagarjuna is asked to accept what he is accepting, we find only one kind of statement there, nakachit pratigya mein. I have no statement to make. So he is not making any statement at any place. But you can find out that actually there are certain statements which are accepted by Nagarjuna. And this is the first statement which I started with, that karmano vipranashasya. So the karma is not getting destroyed. This is to say, our actions are going to give fruits of those actions themselves. So this is not the case that if one is performing anything bad, then he is not going to be rewarded or punished uh, of those deeds. However, there is no one who is going to punish the person. But this is the nature. This is a simple way in which he is going to be rewarded or punished. This is to say, one is never free. One is never free to perform whatever is he is willing to do, and he is not going to be to enjoy the fruits of those doings. This is to say, whatever one is doing, the fruits of those doings are unavoidable. One cannot get rid of those fruits. You cannot get rid of those fruits. So if you are working, if you are doing something wrong, this is to say, the fruits of those doings you are going to enjoy, you are going to suffer. So karmano vipranashascha dharmo buddhena deshita. So here, there we find a clue, and the clue is that Nagarjuna rejects all other theories. All other theories means Nagarjuna rejects the theories related to metaphysics, metaphysical theories. He also rejects epistemological theories, but he is accepting this moral theories. Moral theories in the sense that when one is performing activities, one cannot get rid of the fruits of those doings. However, there could be some questions that who is going to be punished if there is no action, no one who is performing this action, if there is nothing which can do that. So then again, in the same Bandha Karma Phala Pariksha chapter, there is a statement by Nagarjuna. Atma Sanyamakam Chetaha Paranugrahakam Chayat Maitram Sadharmaha. So our chitta, which is Atma Sanyamak, which is regulating itself, Atma Sanyama, self regulation, and which is having karuna for others, paranugrahakam chayat, maitram sadharma. This is actually dharma. This is actually it is accepted as dharma here. So when dharma is taken in this sense, the point is that this our actions, whatever we are performing, the effects of those actions cannot be avoided. Then this theory of shunyata is not applicable everywhere. It is not applicable everywhere without any restriction. And here, when he is saying that everything is shunya, there must be some restriction to it, because he is trying to explain that this moral theory is also only this moral theory is accepted and can be it is very much adjustable to the theory, to all the theories. This is to say, without this shunyata theory, this moral theory cannot be established, cannot be proved, because he is saying many places that sarvam hi yujyate tasya shunyata yasya yujyate. Sarvam na yujyate tasya shunyata naiva yujyate. So if shunyata is accepted, then only this kind of karmana abhipranasha, this moral theories are possible. So actually the point is this, that in order to establish moral theories, this Nagarjuna is propounding such kind of theory known as shunyata. Otherwise, he is not actually engaging himself in a kind of debate. And therefore, at one place he says that Paramarthatastu Aryanam Tushnim Bhava Eva. So actually, if one is trying to discover, trying to come to a conclusion that, so here the real point is that one has to keep quiet. One has to keep quiet means one should not get engaged himself in different kind of argumentation, and he should not get engaged himself in different kind of metaphysical theories and epistemological theories. And therefore he is negating all these views. As he is negating Sankhya, the other views, and actually the main opponent of Nagarjuna is actually old Sthaviravad schools, uh, Sarvastivadi school of Buddhism. And many chapters, Skandha Pariksha, Indriya Pariksha, Dhatu Pariksha, Sanskrita Pariksha, Agnindhana Pariksha, all these chapters are actually related to the rejection of old Buddhist, the theories related to old Buddhist school, Sthaviravad or Sarvastivada. So this Sarvastivadi school was has taken the Buddhist point of view in a wrong direction. And Nagarjuna tried to convince them to put them in order to the theory that actually what you are stating, this was not the Buddhist position. Because Buddha many places propounded different theories. And it is said that Atmetyapi pragyapitam anatmetyapi deshitam buddhair natma nacha anatma kaschidityapi deshitam. So this is very ridiculous statement, it seems, because at one place Buddha says that there is no Atman. At another place he is saying that there is Atman. So, and again at another place it is said that there is no Atman and there is no Anatman. So Buddhair Natma Nacha Anatma Kaschidityapi deshitam. So here there are different kind of prescriptions provided by Buddha. And it is said that Buddha is actually, this is Buddha's Upaya Kaushalya, because he is having such type of Upaya Kaushalya like a great doctor. So as a great doctor prescribes medicines according to the problems one is suffering. He is not giving the same medicine to everybody. So when he is not giving the same medicine to everybody. In the same way, Buddha is not giving the same kind of upadesha to everybody. So his upadeshas, and because it could be that people are standing at different stages, and one person could also be present in different stages, and those are those upadeshas of Buddha are directed towards those persons who are standing at different stage of life, different attitude of minds. So according to different type of positions are taken. So one point is that Nagarjuna rejects all the views. And this rejection of all the views is many times and properly, actually, this is mainly associated with Buddha, Nagarjuna. And there is a term Vaitandika, and this Vaitandik term is used for Nagarjuna especially, because Vitanda is a such type of dialogue, Vitanda is a such type of argumentation when one is not taking any position at all, but he is only rejecting all the other views. So what one gets from rejecting the other views? Sometimes it is understood that when we reject the other views, then my position gets established without any problem, without any effort. Because if all other views are negated, then my views will be established. So if this is the position adopted by Nagarjuna, it doesn't seem to me. However, the Nayayikas many times object and try to understand this Nagarjuna position in the same direction. And they would say that Vaitandik has also a position, but he never proposes that. However, it is difficult to understand when, and it will be very problematic to understand, because when Nagarjuna is always trying to say, always saying that I don't have any position at all, natachit pratigyam. So when he is saying that he is not going to accept any theory, he is engaged only in refuting the other theories. So what purpose is behind this kind of activities? Why he is only negating all the theories? So the first point is that when, according to Nagarjuna, all the theories are misinterpretations, all the theories are bound to be wrong. They cannot be true. Because why they cannot be true? The reason is that if you take any theory, if you try to accept any theory, those theories are not consistent enough with their own propositions, with their own understandings. Therefore, all the theories are to be negated, because when you analyze what happens, those positions which were there hidden, those come in front of us. And coming in this way, the defects are coming to the light. Therefore, we are able to see the defects. And here there is a very famous statement quoted, and that is very much related to this Nagarjuna's philosophy. And this is one, that drishti drashtrava bhedam cha bhrashtam chaveksha karmanam deshayanti jinadharmam vyagri potapaharavat. So the point is that drishti drashtrava bhedam cha. Actually, any philosophical theory, any metaphysical theory, any epistemological theory does harm more than doing good. Suppose you accept that there is a Atman. There is a Atman, and that Atman is going to enjoy the fruits of those doings. So, if you believe that a belief in Atman, in an eternal Atman, makes you morally good person, that is a completely wrong position. Because there are so many persons who are having such kind of notion, such kind of belief, but they are not good persons. And again, there is another kind of philosophy. If you take the position adopted by Lokayatikas, Charvakas, if you think that if one believes that there is only one world, this one, if there is only one world, this one, and after that nothing is there, then one is bound to be a wrong person. This will be also a very confusing and problematic position, because this is also not true. There are so many persons, here who believe only in this life, who believe that there is nothing after this life. They are also equally very nice persons. So the belief in epistemological theories, a belief in metaphysical theories actually doesn't make a person good. So here, I think this is the basic point Nagarjuna tries to make. And according to these basic points, Nagarjuna tries to establish his own theory. And actually, that is not a theory at all, because it is actually no theory. Because when Nagarjuna says that he is propounding no theory, actually he is making such assertion regarding to metaphysical theories and epistemological theories. And many times it is understood that any moral theory must be based on a metaphysical theory or an epistemological theory. And such kind of confusion arises at different places. Even in some places, Professor T.R.B. Murthy makes such a mistake that he says that this is actually a spiritual journey. This Nagarjuna's philosophy is actually a spiritual journey. This is not a positivist philosophy. Rather, it is a spiritual philosophy. So, if there is a spiritual philosophy, there must be something behind this. There must be some ground for this. And therefore, he tries to propound, he tries to establish that this Nagarjuna philosophy is a kind of spiritualism. And the point is that when Nagarjuna is rejecting all the views, he is not actually negating Atman, but he is trying to say, this is actually, as T.R.B. Murthy puts it, that he is actually negating all the predicates. What is Atman that cannot be negated, but there could not be any predicate to it. No predicate is applicable to that. This is present there without even known. So in that way, Acharya T.R.B. Murthy makes this Nagarjuna philosophy, turns it into a kind of Advaitavada, Advayavada, in a kind of absolutist philosophy. Actually, Nagarjuna's philosophy is not philosophy in a proper sense. It is not philosophy in a proper sense because there is no metaphysics and there is no epistemology. And every metaphysics, every epistemology, if it is accepted, it is only at empirical level, not at true level. Really, at the level of reality, at paramarthic level, there is no reality at all. So, tattvam tu shunyameva. It is said, tattvam tu chatushkoti vinirmuktam. So, chatushkoti vinirmukta means you cannot say anything to it. No predicate is applicable to it. Even the basic statements are not applicable to it, that asti, nasti, sad, 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 na asat. So neither of these statements are applicable to that reality. This is the basic Nagarjuna's position. This is the basic Shunyata. So here, accepting the fruits of our actions, prahanato na praheyo bhavana he eva tasmad abhipranashena jayate karmanam phalam. So he clearly states that our karma, our actions always gives fruits of them. So here, if this is the situation, what is the nature of things? All the statements which are given, and however I think that if Nagarjuna is saying that he is not propounding any theory, we must accept his position because he is stating it clearly. We have no right to put our views on that. However, he is saying that he is not accepting any views, but he is accepting a view. So this will be a wrong way of understanding Nagarjuna's Shunyata. Because what is given as the definition of tattva. Tattva is aparapratyam shantam aprapanchaira prapanchitam nirvikalpamananartham etat tattvasya lakshanam. So in that way, aparapratyam, there is no other cause of that. Shanta. Aprapanchaira prapanchitam. So this is the tattva, the reality is not prapanchit by this prapancha. So if Nagarjuna himself is stating in that way, nirvikalpam, there is no vikalpa at all. This is free from all the vikalpas. So ananartham eta, this is the nature of tattva. So if this is the nature of tattva, in that sense, then there is no place for any other kind of imposition from our side. We should not impose that he is accepting any views. However, we are free to search inconsistencies in them. And those inconsistencies can be found many places. And the arguments which Nagarjuna places, different places, there are many places hard to believe. It appears that these arguments are not true in themselves. So that could be the position at all. But here again we have to accept the point that actually Nagarjuna is saying that Shunyata has a purpose. When Nagarjuna is stating Shunyata, he is stating Shunyata as a purpose. In there are some places he says clearly, Atra Bruma Shunyatayam Nattam Vetsi Prayojanam Shunyatam Shunyatartham cha tata evam vihanyase. So very clear statement is there of Nagarjuna. He says that you are not seeing the purpose of Shunyata. Therefore, you are taking Shunyata as purpose itself. But Shunyata is not a purpose in itself. But Shunyata has a separate purpose. So why he is, and it indicates why he has engaged himself in refuting all other views. Because this Shunyata, what he is going to establish, actually has a purpose, different purpose. So what is that different purpose? Klesha karma klesha kshayan moksha karma klesha vikalpatah te prapanchat prapanchastu shunyatayam nirudhyate. So actually he is saying that unless our karma kleshas, unless our sufferings are removed, we cannot get freedom. We cannot be free. We cannot have nirvana. We cannot be we cannot get liberation, moksha. Karma klesha kshayan moksha. So this moksha, this liberation, this freedom is possible only if karma klesh is not there. And how karma klesh is there? He is taking a practical path. What is experienced? What is experienced according to his moving. And the karma klesha vikalpatah. Why there are these sufferings? These sufferings are there because we are having different kinds of vikalpas, different kinds of imaginations. So, in a same thing, there is one thing, and one person is having a different kind of vikalpa, another person is having a different kind of vikalpa, and a separate person is having, a different person is having a completely opposite type of vikalpa. There is one body, one is taking as a beautiful, another is taking only a loath, a piece of meat. So different, because there are different kind of vikalpas, and how these vikalpas are produced. This is also a separate chain, and that separate chain is very much explainable, explicable if we take the Buddhist position, this Nagarjuna's concept of shunyata. So Nagarjuna's concept of shunyata, if accepted, then we can understand this point. So why Vikalp is there? Vikalp is there due to Prapancha. And if this Prapanch is not there, if this Prapanch is negated, then there will be no Prapancha, there will be no Vikalpa, and then there will be no Klesha, there will be no suffering at all. So Shunyatayam Nirudhyate. So in Shunyata, everything will be removed. So if there is shunyata, if shunyata is established, then everything will be removed. So just now I had quoted one statement that as the tigress carries her cub in her mouth in such a way that the cub is not hurt, and also he never fell. So in that way, in that way, this shunyata should be understood, because this shunyata is refined, shunyata is presented in that way that these vikalpas, we should get rid of all these vikalpas, and if vikalpas are not there, then there will be no suffering, and we will be free from all those sufferings. And if vikalpas are there, then there will be prapancha, and there will be uh, sufferings. So actually, the world, as the world is there, this is simply, we can say, in some philosophies there is a distinction maintained between jagat and sansara, and this is said that jagat is actually as it is, but sansara differs. Everyone's sansara is different from others, because the sansar is created by ourselves. We all are creating our sansar. So in that way, we can see that this is a, here also a very peculiar term is used, prapancha. So this prapanch is created by ourselves. We create this prapancha as we make vikalpas, make imaginations. So suppose one person is having epistemological theories, some person is believing in the existence of eternal soul, and according to his acting, his sansar is completely different, his prapanch is completely different, he is thinking in a different way. And if a person believes in uh, this completely lokayatic way, charvak way, in a materialist way, and he's saying, thinking that there is nothing after that, I am not going to enjoy the fruits of all those doings what I am doing here. So if one is having such kind of attitude, if one is having such kind of worldview according to, so here the point is that these vikalpas are actually making the prapanch different. So every person is having a different kind of prapancha. So this prapanch, as one is making, accordingly the person is going to enjoy the fruits of those doings. So Nagarjun, it appears to me that he is having such kind of attitude, such kind of thinking, that these metaphysical and epistemological issues have a little role in our moral life. Therefore, in order to lead a good moral life, and that is the purpose of philosophy, and therefore he is saying many times that this shunyata is actually pragya. So shunyata is pragya, and the pragya is shunyata. So he is making such kind of statement that this moral life moral life could be there. The questions I will take later after some time. So this moral life could be uh, we have to make a good moral life. So if a good moral life is there to be, so only if we are getting ourselves free from different kind of attitudes, because these metaphysical issues actually, if you believe in the eternity of Atman, because it will be only a belief, it is not established, and Nagarjuna makes it very clear, and that it is not established. When he negates the Atman, eternal Atman, he makes it very clear that there is no possibility. If you are believing that there is Atman, this belief is not tenable. And if you believe that there is a Skanda theory according to old Buddhist tradition, then it is also not tenable. So any theory, whatever you are putting forward, any metaphysical position, any epistemological position, nothing, none of them is tenable in the light of Nagarjuna's arguments. So he is warning us many places that this uh, shunyata is actually a means to achieve the pragya. Shunyata is pragya, and it is said many places that shunyata is pragya. How shunyata is pragya? Actually, if we follow, if we engage ourselves in this way, if we reject all the positions, then all the positions, if are rejected, and actually what is having, according to Nagarjuna, all these positions are actually products of our avidya, our imagination, and different type of imaginations we are making, different theories we are forming, and accordingly we are acting in that way, in a complete different, adopting a different position. So here, yoyam pratitya samutpadaha sunyatam tam prachakshmahe. So he says that actually this pratitya samutpad is shunyata. So this is dependent origination. This dependent origination is shunyata. And many places he's saying clearly that when you say that karma is there, this karma is actually pratitya samutpanna. It is not done by the person, swataha, parataha, nadvabhyam. So in that way, different options are taken, and all of them are negated. So here it is said, Vinashayati durdashta shunyata mandamedasam sarpo yatha durgrihito vidyava dushprasadita. This is very important observation by Nagarjuna, that as a snake caught badly uh, bites you, in the same way, if this shunyata is not, if shunyata is caught badly, it will bite you. So this shunyata is such kind of theory that, what does it mean? It means actually that shunyata has a purpose, and leaving that purpose, this shunyata is not applicable to everywhere. So therefore, he is not applying this shunyata to the moral world. He is only applying it to the metaphysical world, metaphysical theories, and also epistemological theories. And he is of this opinion, as it appears to me, that these metaphysical assumptions has nothing role in our in order to lead a good moral life. There are many things. Suppose one is believing that if he is telling the truth, telling a truth, telling a lie, he will be, this is not a good thing. Then sometimes it happens, such kind of situation arises. In that case, he tells the lie. Why? Because he is thinking in a long way. He is taking either for some time that if I don't tell a lie, I will be in a difficult situation. So thinking I will be in a difficult situation, or I will be rewarded, or I will be in a good position after this life. So in taking all these issues, if one is acting, actually these all actions are in avidya. And if we all are, if we all have given all these issues, these points, these ways of thinking, then we can say we can have this world where we are acting, we are present only in this world, this time when we are here. And here again, the very important point is this in Madhyamak Shastra, that Nagarjuna dares even to declare that Tathagat is also Nishwabhava. Tathagatoyam Nishwabhava, Nishwabhavamidam Jagat. So this is not the case that Tathagata Buddha is actually a kind of God in that way and who is creating this world. Tathagat is also Nishwabhava and this world is also Nishwabhava. So simple way in that text he is establishing it that this any epistemological issue, any epistemological theory should not be accepted. Any metaphysical theory should not be accepted. And if we go leaving all these metaphysical theories, all these epistemological theories, then we can have the true understanding of Shunyata. And here again, there is very important and very enjoying statement by Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna ridicules the person who is objecting the Nagarjuna's position. He says that you are actually behaving in such a way as if one is riding the horse and forgot the horse, that he is riding on the horse. Sattvam doshanatmaninan asmasu paripatayan ashwameva virudhasan ashwamevasi vismrita. So actually the question was this one, that if you believe in Shunyata, how could have a good life? How could you believe in karma phala, fruits of our actions? How could you believe in nirvana? And how could you believe in four Arya noble truths? So all this dukkhamasti, dukkhas, because it could be applied there also, that there is a no dukkha, there is no dukkha samudaya, there is no path to dukkha, there is no dukkha nirodha, and there is no path to dukkha nirodha. So this kind of statements, objections could be raised there, and in the raising, how will you answer these questions? And Nagarjuna answers in that way, that actually if we try to, if you are raising this question, these type of questions, these questions are very, they have no value at all, because this shunyata is only to make these all things possible, and you are taking this shunyata to reject itself. Therefore, all the theories, therefore, this is to be understood, to be noted, that actually this shunyata is many places said sarva drishti prahanaya. Is it said why this shunyata is propounded? Sarva drishti prahanaya. This is the purpose of shunyata, to give up all the views, all the positions which are propounded by different philosophies. All those positions should be given up, and this is actually the nature of shunyata. So I would like to complete my lecture here. Some questions are there, I think. Let me try to respond to those questions. Thereafter, I will leave my lecture. Some Amit Kumar Mishra has questioned that how can one deny the metaphysical and epistemological belief behind ethical theories. They give us a very basis to our ethical behavior. By denying all the theories, Sarva Prahanavad is also a metaphysical or epistemological view or a view related to the area wherever you want to remove any theory. This will also give us to establish the actions according to that denial. So this is actually very good question, and this question is answered by Nagarjuna himself, because Nagarjuna is trying. Nagarjuna has taken these points in his chapter where he is negating karma phala and etc. nirvana etc. Actually, the point is that metaphysical and epistemological beliefs. So this is actually such kind of question would be that if you say someone you are going to the market, bring nothing from the market, and when the person comes, you ask the person, did you bring nothing to here to give me? So such kind of statement it will be that when no metaphysical, no epistemological belief is accepted. So these all theories, and one has to be aware of all these theories. That this is therefore there is only very important point to note that Nagarjuna and his followers are making this point that actually at Vyavaharik level we should believe all those theories. We could believe all those theories, but at Paramarthic level, there is no theory, no epistemological theory, no metaphysical theory is accepted. Therefore, Chandrakirti rejects all the positions adopted by, propounded by Dharmakirti and his followers. That there are only two types of pramanas, Pratyaksha and Anumana. Pratyaksha is Kalpana pod hai, and Anuman is different from that. All these theories he rejects, because he says that these theories are not useful at empirical level also. So if you believe in this way, that such kind of the minimum beliefs, this is to say the minimum beliefs are accepted. This is to say, in so far there is an action, in so far there is the actor, the doer is also accepted. And if you are willing to reject the doer, this will not be a proper way to accept the action. Therefore, these philosophy, these metaphysical and epistemological beliefs appear to be behind the ethical theories, but actually this is not the case. Actually, these all are behind, based on the avidyas, our imaginations, our kalpanas, vikalpas. And actually, these vikalpas should be given up, because actually we are having different type of trainings from time to time. Therefore, we are acting in that way. So we have to form good habits in order to get rid of all those wrong habits, bad habits. That will be a proper way to understand this point. Thank you very much for listening me. And if there are some more questions, I will be happy to answer. I have one question more. Dr. Saroj Mohanty has asked a very important one question. Can we say that Sunyata is suggesting emptiness of separate existence of Atman? That way we can see the relation between Sunyata and Anatta. Sunyata is suggesting emptiness of a separate existence of. Yeah, surely. Because separate existence of Atman cannot be accepted at all. There is no possibility to accept, and this is negated by Nagarjuna and his followers. So there is surely a relation between Sunyata and Anatta. One question Pragya Deskyango asked, very nice. My question is, what would happen if Sunyata would be applied to the domain of morality? Nagarjuna doesn't admit it, because it is pragya. it is said pragya means this and here also sometimes he applies it to the realm of morality, and he says that sarvam yujyate tasya shunyata yasya yujyate. He tries to apply it to the realm of morality. However, it appears to be half baked, because if you apply it to moral realm, uh, this is to say, uh, and that I answered, that I raised the point from the text, that he says that if you apply it to the moral word sarvam shunyam, if everything is shunya, then how there is a possibility of good action and bad action? So here problem happens here, that this shunyata is actually nesvabhavata. So this nesvabhavata, it makes room for freedom, because if this is there is a swabhavata, so swabhav cannot be changed. So nesvabhavata is such kind of theory where there is a freedom to change itself. Everyone can get changed according to his own habit. So here he says that we have to accept this point, as I highlighted the point, that uh, karma phala sambandha, what one is acting, what one is doing, the fruits of those doings one has to enjoy, the fruits of those doings one must believe in this, and this belief is sufficient for a moral life. This is to say, all other beliefs, that whether Atman is eternal or not eternal, whether there is Atman or no Atman, all these if beliefs are of no use. Only this belief is sufficient to accept for a good moral life, that whatever one is doing, karma phala sambandha, our whatever we are karma klesha, karma phala sambandha, what one is acting, he is responsible for that. This responsibility must be accepted, and if this is responsibility is accepted, then there is a road to freedom, there is a road to good moral life. There is a question by Madhyamik and Yogachar differs regarding Shunyata. Why and how? Okay. So Nagarjuna, Madhyamika's Shunyata is such a type of Shunyata where, 1 minute. Nagarjuna's Shunyata is, Nagarjuna Shunyata is where everything has dependent origination. But the Shunyata propounded by Buddhist, Vijnanavadins, when Vijnanavadi propounds this Shunyata is actually Vigyapti Matrata. There is only Vigyapti Matra. So here it is said that everything except Vigyapti, everything is Shunya except Vigyapti. So Vigyapti Matrata is accepted by Vijnanavadins. So in that sense, this Shunyata is negation of everything other than Vigyapti, other than cognition. So this Shunyata is something different from Madhyamika Shunyata. Okay, thank you very much for listening me. And if there are some other questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your excellent deliberation. So, as I see there is one question left. Yadu Michael, he wants to know: is rejecting all theories itself a theory?
I answered this question actually. If rejecting all the theories cannot be another theory at all. Nagarjuna always tries to say that rejecting all the theories is not a theory at all, because many times, and TRB Murthy very clearly stated it, this point, that sometimes this could be a question that negating all the theories, when you negate all the theories, you are not accepting another theory. Without accepting any theory, a theory can be negated. So I don't have any theory. So this is the point.
Okay, thank you, sir. If anyone have to ask something, they can unmute themselves and ask their question.
There is one more question by Amiya Patra. Please, Devasis, please read that question.
Okay. Amiya Patra, he wants to know Nagarjuna's Sunyata is spiritual journey towards transcendent.
Surely, Nagarjuna is Shunyata, but actually the term transcendental, Nagarjuna never uses such a term. According to him, the world is identical with Tathagata, and Tathagata is also Nesvabhava, the world is also Nesvabhava. And the purpose of Nagarjuna's Shunyata is to lead a good moral life and to become Buddha. So in order to become Buddha, in order to get Nirvana, one has to act in that. So that this is to say, without having any prejudices. Because having a theory means you are having a separate type of boxing of your mind. You have prepared your mind in a different way. And accordingly, you accept theories. So Nagarjuna saying that such kind of thinking is not right way for Nirvana. Okay, one question.
Now we can openly invite the questions. If there is any question, anybody can ask.
Is it okay to accept that moral life, but practically how to live in the world? Guidance need to be there, isn't it? So the question is not clear. Sunil Kumar, please elaborate your question.
Sir, it is okay, sir. Shunyata we can accept. That is, we need not accept any theory rather than rejecting. But means as when we come to the practical level, that is, if somebody's life is going on, they should have something in their mind, to have a moral life. What they should have, or how they should lead a practical life. Any guidance regarding this Shunyata is okay, concept is okay. But in practical life, what should be in their brain? What should be in the mind?
So actually, the question, I think, as I understand your question, it appears to be that in practical life, how we could get rid of all the theories. Because when we are acting, we are living a life. In that way, many times it appears to be a difficult task, isn't it? Is it the question?
Yes, sir. Because all of us have some kind of beliefs, some kind of living standards. So there will be a lot of things in our brain. And now, if we have to accept Shunyata in practically in our life, how it is possible? That is my question.
So actually, it is said that one should be very bhutanam. This is said bhutanam pratyaveksha. We have to observe the world. We have to. This is actually a position where we are observing the world as it is. We are not imposing it, and we should be always aware of our own situations. When we are forming a theory, when we are forming a concept, we must be aware of that. Actually, many problems arise only because we formulate some ideas, we make some impositions. Sometimes it happens someone told something, and that was not in that way, that was not intended to say what we understand it. And how do we do it? We do it because we always imagine, and our imagination plays some role there, and accordingly we act, accordingly we think, accordingly we behave. So in practical life, it appears to me that the Buddhist position, however, this is a very difficult position, I think, because when we take the Nyaya position or other positions, that is some way easier position to adopt, because it is somehow uh, uh, what we are accepting. We are accepting the continuity of knower. We are accepting the continuity of knower, and the continuity of knower is accepted, and accordingly we are behaving. Then it is okay. But when we are uh, taking from the Nagarjuna's side, it becomes something totally different, and it is in a way, as it was believed earlier, that the earth, the sun moves around the earth, and later it was established that no, the earth moves around the sun. In the same way here it happens, because we have to give up all the theories. We have to give up all the theories, and it is not possible at once. It is slowly and slowly and slowly it happens, because there is a very long way, long chain. There is a very, and you can see in Buddhist texts there are practices, and those practices, if are performed, then only it is possible.
Yeah, thank you, sir. It answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. If anyone wants to ask something, they can ask. Okay. Thank you, sir. So in your lecture, in one or two sentences, Nagarjuna is not propounding any metaphysical or epistemological theory. Rather, he is propounding moral theory through his...
Hello. Hello. Devashish.
Yes, sir.
Devashish.
Yes, sir.
I have a query.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Is the concept of a Sunyata same as the concept of Nirguna Brahma of Advaita Vedanta?
Actually, this is a concept of Shunyata and concept of Nirguna Brahma. Somewhere it could be related somehow, but there is a difference. The difference is that when Nirguna Brahma is taken of Acharya Shankara, Acharya Shankara very clearly says, and if you remember the rejection of Nagarjuna's position by Acharya Shankarina, and he says that this cannot even be negated. There is no point of negating it, and he is completely neglects this position of Nagarjuna. Acharya Shankara's Nirguna Brahma and this Shunyata are not identical in this sense simply that Nirguna Brahman is a metaphysical entity, and it is accepted by Vedantins that this is a metaphysical principle. But this Shunyata is not a metaphysical principle. It is only a negation of theories. And it is said many times that we should not accept that Shunyata itself is a kind of theory. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, sir. So Nagarjuna is propounding a moral theory through his Sunyatavada. So metaphysics and epistemology accepted empirically, not transcendentally. Pragya is Sunyata and Sunyata is Pragya. Liberation is possible only if karma klesa will remove. There is suffering because there are vikalpas. So if vikalpas will remove, then the suffering also will be removed. So with this, thank you very much, sir, for your excellent deliberation. Now I would like to invite our president of today's session, our honorable professor, Professor Abhimanyu Singh, sir. Guruji Pranam, and welcome to this.
Thank you. ठीक है. First of all, I want to thank Professor Sachidanand ji for his very illuminating lecture.
Thank you, sir.
He has raised and discussed many points regarding the nature of Shunyata. Starting from physical Shunyata to spiritual Shunyata. He has given the he has touched at regarding the notion of Shunyata, we can say. That here, I find that there are two types of Shunyata, because Buddhism accepts two kinds of elements of existence, Sanskrit Dharma and Asanskrit Dharma, caused and conditioned Dharma and uncaused and unconditioned Dharma. So, caused and conditioned dharmas are Swabhava Shunya, that is Pratiti Samutpanna. They are Pratiti Samutpanna. And uncaused dharmas are not Pratiti Samutpanna. So, Sanskrit Dharma is Swabhava Shunya. It lacks its own being, independent being, own essence. So, it is Swabhava Shunyata. And the uncaused and unconditioned elements of existence, in other words, you can call Tattva, reality, is Prapancha Shunya, not Swabhava Shunya. Prapanch means speech, language. Sanskriti says that Prapancho hi vak, means Prapanch is speech, language, thought. Prapanchai aprapanchitam means Vagbhi abhyahritam ityartha. That which cannot be expressed in language. So there are two Shunyatas, mainly two Shunyatas, Swabhava Shunyata and Prapancha Shunyata. Reality is Prapancha Shunya, it is not Swabhava Shunya. But caused and conditioned dharmas are Swabhava Shunya. Later on, in Panchvinsha Sahasrika Prajna Paramita text, we find 20 modes of Shunyata. And these 20 modes of Shunyata, there are 20 types of Shunyata. But I think this Shunyata is not found, this 20 modes of Shunyata is not found in basic Prajna Paramita literature. It is, I think, is a later addition. Shunyata is the negation of all views regarding the reality. Nagarjuna derives the relation between thought and reality. That reality cannot be expressed in language. Apar pratyam santam prapanchaya prapanchitam nirvikalpam ananartham etat tattva lakshanam. So, but it has a religious and spiritual basis. The Shunyata has a religious and spiritual basis. It is the denial of all metaphysical views. Metaphysics is the subjective construction of the metaphysician. It is an alter ego of the metaphysician. We find that the aim of Buddhism is to attain the state of egolessness, desirelessness. And so long there is ego, there are desires. And so long there are desires, there are subjective constructions. So, Chandrakirti has quoted a verse that Kam janami te moolam sankalpat kil jayasi na tvam sankalpaishyami tato mena bhavishyasi. Desire, I know thy root. From imagination thou springest. No more I shall indulge in imagination, in metaphysical view. So I shall have no desire anymore. Shunyata is really the state of, it is the rejection of all views. Because all views, metaphysical views are you can say, self-contradictory, they are inconsistent. Region is prajna, it is the highest wisdom. When it realizes when it turns back upon itself and realizes the inconsistent and self-contradictory nature of its constructions. So it is a religious and spiritual significance. It wants to attain the state of egolessness and desirelessness. We know that in Buddhism, suffering is the root element. If anybody want to negate the suffering, to sublate the suffering. So in Pali Buddhism, we find that they say that avidya tanha dve mulani, ignorance and craving. These are the two root causes of suffering. So in order to avoid the suffering, we have to reject all metaphysical theory. We have to attain the state of desirelessness, egolessness. A very subtle form of ego remains involved in metaphysical theory, and this is very dangerous. Sometimes it can lead to fundamentalism. Every religion is spiritual, no doubt, but its spirituality is surrounded by its metaphysical view. When we say, this is my view, this is my religion, this I and my must go, must be abolished. That is why, because of this spiritual aim, Nagarjuna has denied the views of all metaphysicians. So here, when we deny the metaphysical theory, we attain the state of egolessness, desirelessness. This egolessness and desirelessness is absolute spiritualism, you can say. Because when we do not have any metaphysical view of our own, then that spirituality is not bounded with spirituality, it is unbounded spirituality, absolute spirituality. This is the state of prajna and mahakaruna. That is why Nagarjuna begins his Mool Madhyamik Karika, anirodham, anutpadam, anuchedam, asasvatam, anekartham, ananartham, anagamam, nirgamam, yeh pratikya samutpada, prapancho samam siva, desyamas sambuddha tam bande badatam varam. And he ends his Mool Madhyamik Karika with the note that Sarvadrishti prahanaya, yah sad dharmam adaichayat, ankampam upadaya, tam namasyami gautamam. So, Shunyata is the Prapancha Upasham. Prapancha Upasham is the state of desirelessness, egolessness. And in rejecting the metaphysical theories, Nagarjuna has said that even I if I accept any theory of my own, then that that must be that will also be inconsistent and self-contradictory. So it is the shunyata is the absolute state of spirituality, and it is unbounded, unsurrounded spirituality. It is unlimited spirituality. So Nagarjuna says that shunyata is prajna. It is highest wisdom. It is it is the state of, you can say, advaya jnana. It is, you can say that reality cannot be described either as real or as unreal. It is beyond language, it is beyond thought. It can only be intuited, it can only be realized. It cannot be taught by anybody else. That is why he says, Sarvoplambo Upsama, Prapanchaya Upsama Siva, Na Kvachit Kaschit Dharma Buddhena Desita. In order to sublate the Prapanch, Buddha has taught the doctrine of Shunyata. So, from the metaphysics, all views of the Buddha, all views of the metaphysics are within Sambriti, within phenomenal realm, not in the transcendental realm. From the transcendental point of view, no person at no time and at no place, no doctrine was taught by the Buddha. Na kvachit kaschit dharma buddhena deshita. So, in order to destroy the attachment, aversion, delusion, the Shunyata doctrine was taught by the Buddha. So, for the Buddha, so far as the ultimate reality is concerned, you can say that one must keep silence. So, silence is the ultimate philosophy for the Buddha, for Nagarjuna. Muni Mauna. So, here we find that Shunyata itself is not a theory. That is why it is not relative to the doctrine of all Shunyata, non-emptiness. In Salistam Sutra, we find that Suddhi, Asuddhi, Ime Apyanta, Astiti, Nastitya, Ubhe Apyanta, Tasmat Ubhayanta, Vivarjayitva, Madhyapyasthanam na karoti pandita. This is a canonical literature of Mahayana, Buddhism. So far as ultimate reality is concerned, one must keep silence. That is why at present time, we find many types of interpretation of Nagarjunian philosophy. We have negativistic and nihilistic interpretations. We find absolutistic interpretation. We find anti-absolutistic interpretations. We find Wittgensteinian interpretation. We find Derridian interpretation. Many in modern times, we find many types of interpretation of Madhyamik Shunyata, and all say that it is the rejection of all views, but it has a spiritual and religious implication. And the religious and spiritual implication is prajna and mahakaruna. So prajna paramita advaya jnanam sa tathagat. It is equated with tathagat. So all the views belong to Sambriti, because Nagarjuna has made a distinction between Sambriti Satya and Paramartha Satya. There are two types of truth: Lok Sambriti Satya and Paramartha Satya. Lok Sambriti Satya is inconsistent, self-contradictory, it is Swabhava Shunya. And Paramartha Satya is Prapancha Shunya. It is beyond language, beyond thought. That is why all metaphysical theories are negated by or sublated by Nagarjuna. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your enlightening lecture. So I would like thank you very much, sir. So I would like to thank our speaker, Professor Sachidanand Mishra, sir, for his excellent deliberation and to the session of the president of this session, Professor Abhimanyu Singh, sir, for his enlightening lecture, to our principal, Professor Srinivas Panda sir, and to to Arvind Jaiswal for helping in arranging. Without him, all these things are impossible. To all the teachers, students, my colleagues, and my dear student, thank you all for participating. Sabba papasya akarana kusalasya upasampada sachitta pariyodapannam etang buddhanusasanam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Devasisi, please invite for tomorrow's. Please invite everyone for tomorrow's lecture.
Yes, tomorrow also we have a lecture on the development of Buddhist schools. So tomorrow we'll have Professor Ambika Das Sarma. So all are invited. Thank you very much. Have a good day.